Hey everybody, in this video what we're going to do is we're going to start building our infrastructure as code using VS Code and Terraform. So let's start here. What we'll do for VS Code, we're going to create, let's see where we are here. Let's go up and we'll create a folder here. Oops, let's do new. And new folder, and we'll call this VS Code. And in there, what we'll do is we'll create we'll create our new, let's see what we need to do. So let's open folder and VS Code. And in here, we can create it right here. New folder, and this will be infra build, we'll call it. And we will select that folder. Okay, so here we are. We're in infra build. What we're going to say is trust the authors of all files. Yep, we trust infra build. Good. Another thing we'll do is we will go to extensions and we'll install the Terraform extension right here. It's by HashiCorp. Install that one. And that's installed. Okay, so now what we want to do is we're going to create some files in here. So the files that we're going to create variables.tf. So that's our, I'm going to close that. So variables.tf, do another plus here, and we'll create main.tf. And we'll also create one more, and that's going to be provider. So let's do that. Provider.tf. Okay. So we're going to start in the provider.tf. And what we'll do here, this is where we create our AWS provider. So Terraform has quite a few providers, and why don't we can go into Terraform. Let's bring up a browser here. Another browser, new window, and we'll make this a little bit small. Oh, I just closed it. Let's bring up a new window and minimize or make that smaller. And what we'll do is we'll go to Terraform. Let's see if we can just go Terraform by HashiCorp. Terraform.io is the site. And we can take a look at some documentation. We can have some documentation up over here if we want to. Let's see. Let's find infrastructure as code. That's what we're going to be doing. And here's some of the benefits to infrastructure as code. So, getting started with AWS. Some nice getting started and walkthroughs here with Terraform. So, this is very helpful, and this should be good if you're just learning. Documentation, Terraform CLI. Take a look at that. Provisioning infrastructure, initializing working directories. So that's what we're going to be working on right now. So let's take a look at Terraform. We're going to type Terraform, and we're going to say that the required provider, see, it gives me that, it fills that out, required providers AWS, and I'm going to define it right here. AWS source equals, and then HashiCorp /AWS. So that's my provider right there, the AWS one. You can even set what version of Terraform you want it to use, because there could be breaking changes as you go through. Right. So right now we'll just go with no definition. That's probably not what you want to do in a production environment. If you know something's working, you don't want to just start downloading a new version. So we're going to call this, now we're going to define our providers. Provider, AWS, right? That's what we want. And this will be, we're going to define the region in here. US-East 1. And the profile. So this is where, this is what it will use. This is the profile that we've created. The AWS profiles. So if we go back to here, we have these configs right here. Let's open this up with Notepad again. So the profile that we want to use is infrastructure. So there it is. So that's going to be our main connectivity point. So we're going to create our VPC in here. So this is why we're going to define it in here. So this, I'm going to put this in here. Quotes, Control V. So that's our provider, AWS. That's our default provider. But we also want to share this out. So we're going to use RAM using Terraform. We're going to use AWS Resource Access Manager, which shares out subnets to other accounts. So what we'll do here is we'll share this out to either dev or prod. We'll consider which one we want to do. But for right now, let's just say, well, we have to do this. So let's do a provider. So this is, again, we're saying AWS, right? And we see the default one up there. Now, this is what makes this one unique. Alias equals, we'll call this prod. And this will be our prod one. And what we'll do is we'll say region equals US East 1. And the profile, which is in our config file under your user, we'll do prod 01. So we'll grab this profile. So anytime we reference, Control V. So anytime we reference AWS.prod as our provider, that will be used. This prod account will be used. Whereas if we don't say our provider, this is the default. I hope that makes sense, and it will make sense. It'll start making more sense. So with here we hit Control S to save, and that is our provider file. So we have that configured. So that's good. So at this point, what we can do is let's open up a terminal. So we'll open up a terminal, new terminal, and this will give us a PowerShell terminal right here. And what we can do here is we can type in Terraform init. And what that will do is it will take all these files that we have, TF files, and init the environment. Okay, so Terraform is not recognized. All right, so I think, let's see what is going on. We put it in the path. So if we echo $env path. Let's see if it's not in the path. Maybe I had this open prior. Let's close that out. What we'll do is we'll open VS Code again. Okay, so I reopened it, and we're right here. And you can see it restores the history. That's nice. So let's actually run that again. And now you can see before, yeah, we didn't have VS Code bin in there, which is I think where we put the Terraform. So now if I do Terraform init, so it's going to download the latest HashiCorp AWS module, or plugin rather, and you're going to see some more files being created here. So it's installing it right now. So let's wait for that to finish, and then we should, there it is. So now you see a Terraform folder which has the provider AWS 4.6.2, a lock file, and then our other files. So that is setting up a provider in Terraform, and specifically an AWS provider where we're using two different accounts. So we've got two different accounts that we need to use. We're going to have one that where we create all the VPCs and the networking, and then we're going to share it out to another account where we can then build EC2 instances, whatever else we need. But that is the basics of setting up the provider. In the next videos, we'll get involved in creating the actual infrastructure and starting to bring it up and tear it down and do whatever else we want to do with it. It's really, infrastructure as code is pretty cool. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe. So thanks.